Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Polio Jr. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and that is actually reviewing um, this. I shouldn't really be surprised by this, but this disturbingly horrible documentary that HBO did about Game of Thrones, and I believe it was called like the Last Watch or something like that. The Last Watch. It's not even worth remembering. So, and in being so invested in Game of Thrones, and after getting through this horrendous season 8, and I know that there's already been tons of videos on season 8 and the finale, so I'm not going to go too into depth about that. We all know that people just like to look up videos that say this season sucked, and and I definitely do agree about season 8 not being that great, and it's just because we are comparing it to the previous seasons. So the only really good things about season 8 were, the CGI was amazing. Some of the fight scenes were pretty cool, and some of the dialogue was good, but I didn't need an entire episode of dialogue and then a complete episode of no dialogue. So, um, and then so I see, okay, they're having this episode of this documentary for behind the scenes um, of pretty much like the making of Game of Thrones, and like yeah, there's still a couple things in there like where it seems where you see them like doing the makeup and how they set everything up. Even just like something simple like the snow at Winterfell and on the castles and stuff like that, and how they dress the Night King and all that. But you make this horrible finale, and I don't enjoy being negative, but I'm trying to give my honest opinion just because I was so disappointed after watching Game of Thrones all the way through 3 times total, and then going into season 8 and just slowly breaking me down, going, this could have been the best show of all time. Like, it doesn't matter what genre it was in, it would have been the best show of all time, if not for season 8. So, and of course, there's a million factors for that and so forth. But it's just so funny to me, like that they make that season 8 was so terrible, and then, and then not like I could expect much, but I thought it would be cool to see the behind the scenes, little documentary that they make, and it's really just more of um, it seems like it's just more about the extras in the um, in the in Game of Thrones. It's more about the extras. It's more about the people that do the makeup, and they really only focus on a couple like main people. There's like a little bit of the director, and there's there's a lot of this one person who does like a crap load of makeup, and then one person who does like the wigs and so forth. But like the biggest thing that I wanted to personally see was the main characters, and obviously, who doesn't want to see the main characters behind the scenes and so forth. So we're really following around these people who you may or may not have recognized in the show as extras because their actual time on the screen is less than 10 seconds, like maybe max 30 seconds. So I think the most popular extra that wasn't even in the documentary was Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But I don't know. It's just I don't know why I decided to make this video. It was just you make this terrible finale. The writing's obviously horrible. Every video that's been made about season 8 has pretty much gone over that. all the plot holes and so forth, um, and just all the bad, just the bad writing and decision making of season 8 was so terrible. And then just having this, there was like this little little ray of hope about um, this little documentary. I was like, oh, cool, man. They're gonna show, you know, um, when they're at the table readings, from season 1 to season 8, and that kind of stuff. And that was really only shown for maybe maybe like a minute or two. I'll say like 3 minutes tops. And then you really don't see any of the stars of the show. It's just all these like coordinators behind the scenes, like them doing the green screen and so forth. And it was just really just just um, another disappointment. And like I said, I mean, this Game of Thrones could have been the best show of all time, and now it's going to have an asterisk next to it, just like Barry Bonds, for being on steroids after hitting all these lifetime home runs. So, and that's what Game of Thrones is going to be. It's going to be best show of all time, and then it's going to be um, in parentheses except season 8, essentially. But and my advice is don't even watch the documentary. It's not even worth it. It's just so um, I don't know. It's just so poorly made, and maybe they were trying to keep a lot of stuff private and so forth. But at this, while they were doing this, but still, if you're on set, um, you're pretty much not allowed to say anything anyway, until the show is actually being aired, and that's it. But yeah, there wasn't anything with the main characters. All the conversations were completely boring and uninteresting. Um, the um, it was more about following these unknown extras, and that's why they're called extras, obviously. But through following these extras throughout the show, who really had no big purpose in Game of Thrones whatsoever. So we didn't get to see any of the stars in the in this latest documentary that they just played on HBO a few hours ago now. So um, yeah, I'm just expressing my huge disappointment towards this documentary, because it wasn't really a behind the scenes. It was more of a um, behind. It was behind. Let's just say that it's behind what Game of Thrones uh, should be and could have been. So, and season 8 absolutely destroyed, um, just destroyed the entire, um, like the basically the throne that Game of Thrones was on. It was there. It was, this anticipated thing. And I know when things are highly, especially shows, when they're highly anticipated, you can be let down a lot easier. But there are so many shows that have done that and had great at least great seasons, even if the finale was bad. Like for instance, Dexter. I didn't mind the last season. I thought the last season was pretty good, but I didn't like the finale. And same thing with Sopranos. It was every single episode was great, but I just didn't like the finale. And I wish I could have at least said that about Game of Thrones uh, season 8. I wish I could have said every episode of Game of Thrones season 8 was great except for the finale. But I have to say, all 6 episodes, I would never watch again, pretty much. So, and then having all of this, another more hype for this documentary, in which they're really showing nothing. They're showing more of the lady that works on the food truck than they are of, of pretty much anything. The lady in the food truck gets more airtime in this documentary, The Last Watch, than um, than any of the main stars, and even has more screen time than any of the extras as well. The lady who's making the sandwiches on the lunch truck. So, um, do not, in my opinion, do not watch The Last Watch. Um, and if you're gonna rewatch Game of Thrones, then it's an awesome adventure. Um, even through season 7. I really still believe that it was a great adventure, even though there was a lot of um, ridiculous choices that they made and what the characters were doing and so forth. Um, but yeah, just the documentary is just absolutely awful, and I was just it's just like anything else when you've invested so much time into a TV show, you want to see everything about it. And now I am definitely 100% officially done with Game of Thrones because I know what the ending is now. So like maybe I would watch up to season 6 or season 7 and then just go, okay, I know what happens in season 8, and I'll just leave it at that. So because I don't want to get my heart broken again. But documentary was extremely poorly made. It felt rushed, and it felt rushed and insincere, um, and really, um, yes, with season 8 and then with this documentary, I feel like they killed a lot of the Game of Thrones um, fan base. So like, as far as looking forward to prequels and so forth, I guess as long as it's not still the D&D writers, then maybe we'll be okay. And maybe if more, once more books are released, then it would pick up a little bit more. But we should just pretend as if this season 8, just never existed. So it brought it from, almost this perfect, 10 out of 10 series all the way through. And season season 8 just brought it down to, for an entire series, brought it from a 10, and in one season dropped it to at least an 8 out of 10. Unfortunately, 6 episodes did that. But yeah, that's all I have. Don't watch the documentary, and I wouldn't rewatch season 8 again, no matter what. I would just finish at season 7 and say, I know what happened in season 8, and that's it. So yeah, the documentary is highly disappointing, and it was actually something that I was looking forward to after the depressive ride of season 8. So, all right, well that's my opinion. If any of you guys did watch the documentary, tell me what you thought. Tell me if you felt anything that I said was accurate, or if I'm just talking out of my ass. So, thank you very much for watching a video that I typically do not do, reviewing, a a series and so forth. So I really don't do that kind of stuff. But yeah, rest in peace, Game of Thrones, and rest in peace, the documentary as well. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.